So much said, I'm in too deep. Waters I tread can't catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. If I'll now have a peek. All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories, except tonight our guest here, Mr. Azho64, you were never really all that religious at all, were you?
Yes and no. I think it took me not even that long, like 2003, 2004 to finally say, yeah, I don't believe this shit anymore and go from there. Okay. But prior to that, I mean, I tried at times to kind of like fake it till you make it. And even a few times, and of course there was girls involved. So, I had, honest, wholesome, down to earth beliefs, but I really thought I did believe. And, for me, not to jump too far ahead, but what caused me to become an atheist is kind of the same way a lot of other people have, reading the Bible alone, but I didn't go in there to prove the Bible wrong. I was trying to prove that this crap is right. And, for me, and I did this on Nara's channel, and I wanted to just go in and do it from the heart, and whatever happened. And I liked the way he interviewed. I liked, but I think I've dropped the ball a few times in a few areas. So maybe this is like my redo.
Thanks for the test run.
Yes. Thank you, Nara, my buddy. But, yeah, so it's like I told him, it's like my story is hills and valleys, a roller coaster. Because like when I was in high school, I mean, I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy, and I haven't had any of those suppressed memories pop up. So I'm hoping at 59 that they don't pop up, if there is any. And I'm not trying to make light of that, but you know how many people.
No, I got you.
You're an altar boy. Well, did you get touched? Not that I know of, and I hope I don't ever remember if I was. To be honest, I'm good with not knowing. And then when my mom met with my stepdad, who I consider my dad, so I'll talk about my sperm donor, who's the biological father, if I ever talk about him in this, and then my father, who was my stepfather. He was my dad. He raised me. I mean, anybody can stick it in, have a baby. That doesn't make a dad or a pop. That's just basically the sperm donor, in my opinion. But when they met, they got married. We moved from Florida all the way to Indiana. Wow. Talk about cultural shock for a 12-year-old kid. But then we were up there. We went to the Methodist church, and somehow, some way, we ended up. Yep. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you had a question.
Dude, going from Florida, like what age were you when this happened?
I was 12. I just started 7th grade.
So,
and yeah.
So Indiana is the most boring place there. Maybe Iowa is worse.
Well, at first I was excited because they're like, "Oh, we got a farm." So I'm thinking, horses and pigs and lions and tigers and bears.
Yeah.
Oh my, that sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't yet. There was chickens and a few cows, and when they were talking about farmers, where at that time was just planting and harvesting and crops. They had like 1,600 tillable and I think like 400 non-tillable acres. So it was a large endeavor.
How did you adjust to your first Midwest winter?
Well, it just happened to be, of all the times in the world, it was the winter or the blizzard of 78.
Oh,
actually, was it?
There was a lot, like between 77 and 85. There was a lot.
77, and then so I don't know if it's the beginning of 78 that the blizzard happened or towards the end. Now that I think of it, but there were two relatively, big blizzards back then, and I want to say it was 78. but I might be mistaking, sort of thing. But yeah, for having days that are like 60 degrees and you think you're freezing your nuts off, and then come to Indiana and realize that wasn't freezing your nuts off. That was just a warm up. And what's amazing is when we were moving, it was the first time I was raised towards the end in Bradenton, Sarasota area. And we ended up on what was called Anna Maria Island, which is literally a little bit island. We went through a few hurricanes, and one of them, stupid us, of course I didn't have much choice. I can blame it on, the fam family and not myself, but it was actually, most of it was underwater. And we weren't so sure we were going to, have a house by the time it was all said and done, but we made it through that one. But yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, we went fishing all the time. We actually lived on the beach. Not too many blue hairs, who I call old people, which I'm getting there. But I'm not
blue hair club.
Blue hair yet. Sort of thing.
Snowbirds. See, now you get a real appreciation why snowbirds are just the smartest people.
Yeah.
They're just better than us in every way. Yeah. There's no reason for me to be in the Midwest right now. I should leave. It's terrible.
Give me the equator any day of the week sometimes. But what's weird is I actually love Indiana. I've moved away a couple of times and I've always made my way back. I literally wear shorts and a t-shirt or a tank top year round.
That's right.
I walk. I don't care. Just the other day, we just had a little bit of snow here when it was friggin' 4 degrees for like a week. I'm walking, with my hoodie, my shorts, and my Crocs to the mailbox.
You sure you're not part Canadian?
I'm part stupid. I know that, but it's funny because I don't know if he's here now.
You did say Crocs.
One of my buddies is from Canada, and I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Neil 604 Atheist." He says, "Is he Canadian?" I said, "No, I thought he was like Western California for some reason. I don't know why." And then
West is right.
Yeah, and then we both looked, and it's like, "Oh, that's BC, isn't it? BC that you're from?" Yeah,
Vancouver area. Yeah.
Oh, he's like, "Oh wow, you actually talk to because I call all Canadians Canuckers, I mean, and I don't mean that derogatory. And I found out later on that can be taken as, but like
I don't consider it derogatory. Yeah, I call myself a Canuck all the time.
I love Canada. As a kid, we used to go just on the other side of Michigan into Canada to do fishing, and my first year there, you talk about cultural shock from going from Florida to Indiana in the middle of snow. Well, our first morning, the morning after we got there, we wake up and it's dark out. I'm thinking, man, there must be an eclipse. It's like 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. The sun's up. Come to find out, the screened-in porch was covered in mosquitoes. I mean, literally that thick. It's like I ain't going out there. That's a white boy up. Yeah. So our guide that we had lived next door came over.
Next door.
I forgot to tell you about the mosquitoes. Showed us a trick how to get them off there, and then to keep them off us, because once they were gone in the morning, they were gone all day. Then they'd come back at night. Yeah. Sort of thing. So that was a little bit different. But I love Canada. I love hunting. I got guns. Definitely got to.
What do you usually hunt?
Well, here around Indiana, I mean, deer for sure.
Neighbors.
Whitetail?
Yeah.
Whitetail. You got mule. What you guys got out there?
We got whitetail. We do have a few bears here and there, but I've never seen one myself. We got coyotes, but even we're supposed to shoot them to get rid of them. But to me, that's ignorant. They're part of the ecosystem, and what are they harming really? I mean, if they're getting into livestock, yes, I understand it. But anybody's like, "Oh, there's."
Well, they wander around our neighborhoods here.
Yeah,
they can snatch your pets if you're not careful.
Yeah, the bad thing is like dogs on a leash.
Yeah,
that's when the coyotes are a bad idea. It's like, God, poor dog, he's got nowhere to run.
Yeah, do some squirrel hunting. We used to go coon hunting all the time at night. We lost 2 dogs once. My buddy had, and these guys ran with us all the time, and something got them, and they were gone for 2 days. And anybody that knows anything about coon dogs, especially ones that are trained, well, obviously something, they weren't trained good enough, I guess. But that's a good change. So we finally went back down to where they were, down the hills and the valleys, and we found them on some guy's land, just eating. He's feeding them. We just happened to find them through a tip through somebody else saying, "Hey, this guy down here says he found a couple of dogs that might be pulled up." And we found out, even in this day and age, well, this has probably been the middle 80s. But this guy had no electricity, had an outhouse, just like middle of Kentucky or something. And this is Indiana. And it was just kind of neat to be thrown back, and he loved it.
Right.
He said, I'd love to be off the grid even more, but this is all he can afford. And, he'll take it, sort of thing. When I think off the grid, Wyoming, Montana, Alaska, the middle of Canada. I was going to say Canada.
Canada.
But
Canada.
But after we got to the I'm trying to get back on course here for you guys. It's not working out very well.
Hey, this is your episode. We could talk about whatever you want. And I like the way that we're going. I'm getting a little tour here. I like this.
Can we talk about boobies and not Neil's? Boobies are good.
Leave mine out of this. Mine come with dental floss.
I'm not going to go around. Oh, look, he's a sexist. I don't care. I like boobies. I know a lot of women like boobies.
Many of us
do.
It's all right.
So and that was funny is the guy that had the coon dogs that we lost him was my best friend in high school, and for some reason we ended up leaving, or maybe I did, or no, it was the family because I was still living at home. Went to a non-denominational church. It was a lot friendlier. They had activities for us youth. Ended up being the president of our youth group. My buddy was like the vice president, and the girl that the love of my life was the treasurer. So my senior year, we actually got together, and I mean, she was pro God to the teeth. Every time we made out, she broke up with me, and it was always, God wouldn't like that. And it's like, wow, you didn't think that last night. I mean, we did. I mean, it was no intercourse, nothing like that. Just kids making out, and going a bit far in her opinion. But and even then, I
leave space for Jesus.
Religion, not because of her necessarily, but just religion. I mean, no one had to tell me there wasn't a Santa Claus. I figured that out for myself as a kid.
What?
Oh, sorry, Mikey. There's something we need to tell you.
Oh, my list.
Oh, yes, and
I had a
Jesus
good one this year.
Get over it, Mikey.
I was 25 days in. I knew I was going to make it this year.
Yeah.
Damn it! 25 days wasted.
But they had this.
Never had a Santa in my life. So
who shit?
Raised as a Jew, so we had Hanukkah Harry, right? So
Hanukkah Harry or Harry Hanukkah.
I've always lived in apartments.
From Saturday Night Live, it was John Lovitz used to do Hanukkah.
Oh
Hanukkah
where is John Lovitz?
Presents of the Christian kids and give them to the Jewish kids.
We're kind of dating ourselves there, Neil.
Yeah, well,
that wasn't last week either.
Well, you're 2 years older than me, so
I'm actually I think 4 years. I'm 59. You're 54, aren't you?
I'm 66.
Well, then.
Oh, you mean? Oh no, I'm 57. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you're okay. I thought you were trying to use the metric system on me there.
No.
Hey, Al, how you doing,
metric
buddy?
age system.
I think they're trying.
Years. I'm only 12.
Don't worry, audience. I think they're trying to communicate.
Yeah.
What's this metric you speak of?
He's like, no,
Neil,
you're 56? No, 57. No, I'm 66. 66, no, 57,
is he the one you're telling me
56.
in emails you're trying to get rid of and replace?
The very same. And I looked it up.
Can't find anybody as cheap as you, though.
No. Nope. Bottom of the barrel is where I like to be. John Lovitz is 66.
Yes, he is.
I had to check to make sure he was still alive.
Yeah, I would have had to look too. I haven't heard much about him lately. I can tell you John Candy's dead. That helps.
Who?
John Candy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, what a loss that was, man.
Mm-hmm. Old Uncle Buck.
Yeah. All the good ones die young, so that explains me living as long as I have so far, I guess.
Yeah,
that's why we're having this conversation.
We are
deep into our lives is because we're trash.
This is probably going to extend my life by 3 more years. Thanks a lot, guys.
Oh,
I'm trying to.
Oh no! What if that's our curse? We just the worse we get, the longer we live.
There we go.
We'll be stuck here with fucking weirdos for the rest of.
And I know I have to be at least on my 4th life, so I've still got 4 or 5 to go. And if this one hasn't ended yet, Jesus Christ!
Every time you do something really bad, they reset you.
They do. Yeah.
Then you have to get your strikes gone again.
It's like your own personal hell on Earth, other than being married.
We saw
there are people that are married and happy and wouldn't have any other way. I'm just not the marrying kind, I guess.
I don't know where my ring went, but I do. I have a wife and a ring somewhere.
Yeah. I lost a ring, and I heard about it for I think the last 4 years of our marriage. Literally.
You always go get another one, I guess.
Yeah, they don't see it that way.
Oh. Mine was made of Beskar because it's the little silicone guys, and I got the Mandalorian set from Disney. She got a green, she got a Grogu green one, and I got the Beskar steel.
Yeah, just to tell you how, I guess, much I think being married and marriage, especially after being married twice, was so, I guess, wholesome and religious for me. I married my third wife just to put her on my insurance. Literally, that was the only reason we got married. And it was a good thing because like 2 weeks later, she ended up with pulmonary embolisms. And the doctor said if she would have waited much longer, she would have been dead. And I'm pissed off because I could have got life insurance out of this shit. I mean, no, I was concerned for her health. That's what I meant.
I signed the wrong paper.
Damn, I married the wrong girl. She lived.
Well, what a great thing about this country. All the free health insurance.
Yeah, high quality free health insurance for that.
Best quality low price on the planet.
Right.
No. Yeah.
So that's why I'm on disability. Then I have to get the supplemental, which is a joke in itself, but somehow I'm on like Humana Gold Plus, and I actually like it. It's pretty much almost 100%. I pay a little bit more on the on the front end, but on the back end, I pay very like most of my
lower deductible. Yeah,
like most of my pills, all except my hydrocodones, cost me nothing. Like I said, and then I was on I'm on Nexavar, and hopefully I continue it if they can figure out how I can pay for this crap. But I've been on it for 6 years, and it's like almost $3,000, a month just for that, and I never had to pay anything for it.
That just reminded me I got to take my pill.
That just lets you know the medicine costs too much money. Like that is ridiculous. What billionaire is going to walk around paying through that anyway? So when you're in your middle teenage phases, were there any kind of like pressures from like parents or like church and stuff like that? Like, no rock and roll.
Right. Well, see, my mom wasn't that bad. My mom was a realist, to be honest. And she even got to the point in my childhood. She came to me one day. She goes, I know you're going to drink. I know you're going to do stupid shit. If you do it, not that I'm condoning it, call me. I'd rather be pissed off coming to get you in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because you can't drive than a cop saying, hey, your son's been arrested or he's dead.
He's in the slammer.
Right.
Come identify.
So my mom was pretty kosher about that. And I'm pretty sure they smoked pot too. Or I wouldn't say I didn't smoke pot. The only thing I ever did was
who doesn't
drink. Really? I thought that was, a God-given right. Get the pun?
I live in BC. Right. It's the law here. You're supposed to smoke.
Right.
BC before Christ. I get it.
Yeah.
No. Bud City.
All my pressure was external from the church, from the pastors, even some of my, like I said, the girl I was dating. That's all I ever heard about. And I'm still wondering if there's a God. And in our area, we had a thing called Youth-A-Rama, which is basically, all the local congregations would get together once a year for a big to-do.
Dodgeball.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There was like a big barbecue cookout before some games, and then you go inside, and me and my buddy Eric both did sermons. And even though I nailed it, when you read something, you really don't want to read it. It's kind of like a book report at school, you have to do it. That's kind of where I was, being the president. And of course I was flamboyant. I'm just like this. And as a matter of fact, one of the girls I work with, if she's in here, she sent me a message saying she's in here. I don't, she doesn't have to show herself, but she'll tell you. She'll tell you I'm this nuts in person. The same, pretty much always a jokester and things Crystal. Like that. But
thank you.
Yeah, it was I just didn't have no burning desire. I got baptized because of a girl. I wouldn't even say I can't blame her. Ultimately I had a choice.
How was your baptismal experience? Did they have like a like a kiddie pool, or do they do like that baptism in the Holy Spirit shit so they can save money?
Well, see, I was raised Catholic, so obviously I got sprinkled. And then there's also something we had in our area. It's a Christian camp called Hanging Rock Christian Church, and we went there a bunch, and I loved it. And we did more stuff that you shouldn't have been doing there than we did probably out in the real world, to be honest. You know what they say about preachers' daughters? Go to a Christian camp. It's just as bad. But they had the big, the swimming pool there. They did this, call to the altar sort of thing, but you got the pool, and it was that emotional thing. And what's weird is with me being who I was, and like I've always, the part of the peer pressure for me was, Mark, our youth pastor, which I loved him to death, literally. It's like, well, everybody's looking at you for guidance, and, you're supposed to be, a moral compass, you are the president of the youth group. And it's just like, that's a lot of pressure for a kid, especially one that's out drinking and, once in a while, probably smoking pot back then. By then, this is probably like, when I was 15 or 16. But standing there, all these people are coming forward, they're getting dipped, and I just happen to look up, and everybody's staring at me from my congregation. All the kids, and we had a few of the counselors that from our church that were there too. So it was like, yeah, what the heck? I might as well do this, And I kept thinking in my head, this water is going to catch fire. It's going to start boiling. I'm going to die. Literally. And this is all part of, even though most of my life I don't think I really believed. I wanted to, I tried to, but that fear of hell,
it's like me,
the fear of hell was always in the back of my mind up until, when I finally said, I'm an atheist. Once I verbalized this, and that's the one thing, anybody that's seen Apostasy or Stacy from, Stacy's mom, she's similar to that. She said, once she verbalized it, her attitude, or, it just like, oh my God, I really don't, and that's how it kind of was for me. When I finally just said, stop dicking around, you played the game for, heck, by then I was born in 64. So say 30 years, maybe, trying to decide if I was Christian or not Christian, or played hard or what have you. And I just finally said, screw it. But prior to that, it was like a roller coaster. And I even had a little stint where I met a girl.
It's always
imagine that. She was a Jehovah's Witnesses. I knew nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wow.
Make a long story short, I spent 2 years studying with them. It usually doesn't take that long, but I even quit a rather lucrative job for them because I worked swing shift, 12 hours on, 12 hours, off sort of thing. You work 4 days on, 4 off. But I also worked at least 2 days overtime every on my off days, just for the money.
Right.
And I had 8 earrings in my ears. Even I had even my scruff. I was going to shave it today, but I'm still in that point now. I'm right back to, what do I want to try to get a beard or not? Because I had a better beard in high school than I do now. Which is sad. So it's like, I quit this job, struggled to find a decent paying job there for a minute. And I ended up walking away like 2 weeks before I was to be baptized as a J-Dub at the Dayton, Ohio convention. Well, what sucked is towards the end, and they're really into being no part of the world, meaning anybody that's not a Jehovah's Witness is bad news, sort of thing. But
what kind of stuff would they say like that? Like what would they say to keep you guys from interacting with the other world? Like, why was it bad? A
lot of it is just the buzzwords, apostate. I mean, if anybody could look up the word of apostate alone, the word simply means somebody that used to be part of a religion, a club, or even an organization of any sort.
Left it. Yep.
And you left it. Well, I should pop open their reasoning books. I use it a lot when I talk to people, because they don't quite fathom it, but they've got a book when we went out in field service for almost every situation, apostates, atheists, somebody that says, oh, I have my own religion, just gives them verses to toss at people they're talking to, but when you look at apostate and their definition, they go a step way beyond what the word's really meant to be, that it's pretty much anybody that leaves the organization or the watchtower. We call it the Borg once you leave, even kind of sometimes before. But it's all part of the buzzwords and the control of the mind Now, mind you that I was not born into this, so I wasn't quite
right
into as other people. And where I was lucky, my family wasn't JW. I didn't have to worry about being shunned by my family. I lost some people, but then it's like, wait a second, if they were really my friends, they'd still be there.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
But what was sick and sad, and I when I started, almost kind of like my final step with Christianity itself is, it's like, okay, if this is true, let's grab some books, do some studying, see what the Bible says versus what they're saying. And then every other time, just like their magazine, The Watchtower, that's what they do all their services on, unless they do the Awake one or something on another different night. But you'll read their pamphlet, and if anybody that's ever had one or has one, look, it has numbers in the paragraph. It'll ask you a question at the very bottom. It gives you the answer. So you don't even have to think for yourself. So, say the question in paragraph 3 was, is Jesus God? In the very bottom, it'll say, no, he's not God. Use this verse in this verse to prove that he's not. Well, most of us don't spend the time to read those verses. And a lot of times they're just verses
thrown up there,
have nothing to do with it, sort of thing.
It doesn't even prove what you're asking.
Right. So it's just like, it's pure nonsense. And, the whole fear of being part of the world, not being one of the brothers. And I used to do a really good Jehovah's Witness imitation, but I haven't done it for years. I'm not going to try, but it's like just the word speak. It seems like your IQ level drops when you talk. I don't mean that but a lot of them get lisps, when they talk about the brothers and the sisters being in the twoof. It just amazes me. Oh, you might see the puppy going back and forth. This is my, no offense, Mike, this is my black demon. That's Jake. But
just a trademark infringement. I can license you out the title. It's no problem.
Okay. But towards the end, when the girl I was dating's congregation is trying to get her disfellowship, they're doing a judicial committee meeting, which is pretty much their form of their court. They bring everybody in, all these witnesses, get the information, pretty much toss you without any evidence. But they brought me in, which is very rare that somebody, even though I was wanting to be and was even scheduled to be dipped at the convention, I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. So my testimony really doesn't mean much, except when they wanted it to. Because they literally brought me in there, said, I'm trying to say, to talk about without mentioning her name, but stuff like, what did you two do? Okay, and I'd say, well, we went further than we should, but they wanted little details. Where
they want dirt.
Oh, of course they did.
It was just got to the point. It's like, you guys are just a bunch of perverts.
Why are you asking me that?
You can go home or have some reason to bang your wife. And I said that literally because I already knew I was gone. I had made it formal. And that was really the step. But then when they started telling me, her congregation is on the east side of Indianapolis, about 45 minutes, just the way I drive, 45 minutes from my house, which is, if anybody looks it up, Crawfordsville, Indiana, that's where I live. So that's where I would drive, when she was working and she'd come out to my house, which was bad in itself. That's a no-no. But when their elders were telling me that I lived in this house, that I drive these cars, that my son gets on the bus at this time, I literally about freaked out and started swinging. It's like, I don't care if you come after me, but leave my son out of this. That's kind of sick that you're worried. You can tell me when my son's getting on the bus and you drove an hour and a half or 2 hours, probably 2 hours for a normal person, because I don't know the shortcuts, but 2 hours of your day just to see and catch me and her together.
Stage 5 clinger.
Yeah, it's just sick and pathetic. And once I finally got smart enough to get away from that, that's kind of was the end, become the beginning of the end for me, because that's when I kind of just, I tried going to a non-denominational church with a buddy of mine. He was my boss on my new job. And I went to him one day and it's like, Mike, or Bill, sorry, Mike. Bill, I don't think I can believe this crap anymore. He's like, what? And we'd always sit around talking about it. He knew I knew, I was well versed on it and how to defend it. And, because theology has always been my hobby, even now, even though I know it's not real, it's garbage. It's, mostly harmful. Some people need it to be good people, which is sad in itself, but I understand.
Real quick, did you like the sport of it, kind of, you know what I mean? Like learning new, like if you would be going to like a mixed martial arts dojo or whatever, like, oh, we're working on grappling today. No, we're gonna do striking today. Because I feel like that's what they kind of do. Like they kind of treat you like you're this like mercenary, and like I'm just gonna give you these tools and you could just like use them on the battlefield. And they kind of like, what I mean, phrase it in this like
and to a point, you're right, because it's you're almost like a spiritual warrior for Jesus.
Yeah, like you're Rambo. You're like, here's the rocket launcher.
And to be honest, I mean, even in my days when I was in high school and doing that, sermon and being a leader, I mean, that was an ego boost for a kid, for most kids, regardless, having power at that age. And I'm not saying real true power, but back then you're like, yep, I'm the president. Look right there. I got the badge and,
right.
Been there, done that sort of thing. But when my buddy sat there and told me, and I told him, I can't do it anymore. I'm going, atheism. And, that's that. He literally looked me in the eye after knowing him for 30 years and said, well, I'm going to turn you over to the devil. I want nothing to do with you until you can find your way back to God. It's like, okay. Wow. And I have not talked to him since. And what's worse with Bill, he was a preacher's son and was doing all the bad things.
Oh yeah. I'm a pastor's kid. We're the worst.
And then afterwards, my son found this out because Bill knows my son. He said, guess what? Bill, got divorced. He had an affair with a younger woman, got her knocked up, and now he's in big trouble with, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't have any of that. And Satan was on my side, according to him,
Even Satan has some rules.
Right. Well, if you read the Bible, who really is the bad guy? Satan kills, 10 people in the whole Bible, and God kills millions?
Yeah.
Literally probably tens of millions. We don't know the exact number, but just, with the estimates they've done. And,
with the flood would have to have been easily hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wiped out the whole planet except for like 12 people. So like his KD ratio is terrible right now. You know what I mean? Like he's a fucking monster.
Well, his love to rate or his hate to love ratio is pretty good.
Yeah.
What they say, no hate like Christian love or God love.
But
the one thing I did fail to mention, just prior to finally making this decision, I once again went back to the book or the Bible alone. Actually, I used a few commentaries on some hard spots, but I decided I was going to start from Genesis and go all the way to Revelations and try to see what it says. And I got to, what's weird is all the garbage I bypassed as far as like the flood. The 10 plagues of against Egypt, even the firstborns being killed, dashing, children on rocks. And what is it? Psalms 137. And what finally caught me was
that great song in Psalms.
Yeah.
Smash the babies' heads on what the fuck?
Yeah. Dash them on rocks. Yeah. That's godly.
Y'all sing this?
What got me was 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 23 and 25 through 25. The one where the kids call Liza. I know it's not whatever the big one, the secondary prophet of God. The Baldy, and then God sent the she. For some reason that hit me. It's like, wait a second, why would God, allow this for calling a dude a name? Regardless of what it was.
No First Amendment in heaven. Right,
there you go. So then what I did, I went back and restarted the whole thing and went back to those fucking begots and begats and goats and sheep being nervous. Then I started noticing all the nonsense in Genesis 1, Genesis 2. They contradict Genesis 1, the creation accounts. Then we get into the misogyny of poor Eve, and then
we had trees.
There's no way around it.
We had trees before the sun. What's the problem?
Right. And then how can you condemn all mankind and every animal ever
had day and night before the sun?
Yeah. With the two people that didn't even know right from wrong. If my son did something that he didn't necessarily know that was wrong, I'm sure not going to take him out back, shoot him and put him down and say, okay, let's try again. That's exactly what God did. He wiped out the earth except 8 people and started over, incest part 2.
I'm just glad that when I was at daycare, someone was the counselor or whatever comes in. She's like, look, someone ate the graham crackers early. So I'm just gonna close this door and put a hose in here. We're just gonna flood the place because I don't know what we're supposed to do now.
Right.
Like, I don't know what the fuck else to do except for flood this whole place. Like, I don't understand how flooding. Look, God, if you're watching this, God, please hit the like button.
If you're
and subscribe.
watching this,
and also, you can't flood away all your problems.
Right.
Eventually, you're gonna have to deal with your
didn't
problems.
God know it wasn't going to work?
Floods.
Didn't God know it wasn't going to work, and He gives us a fucking rainbow to say, "See, I won't do it again." You shouldn't have done it the first time. And what about all the genocide that happened before this bullshit?
Yeah, the flood really does fuck up the omnipotent part, huh?
Well, the Canaanites were awful people, but yet you want to preach free will? What happened to the Canaanites' free will? It makes no sense. But yeah, once I started getting right back into it, I was catching shit that I read 100 times before and never put two and two together.
So how I love when I talk to atheists and they know so many more verses than Christians. How well, like, how often do you find that you're much more well read on the Bible than the Christians that you end up talking to?
Probably 90% of the time, more than they do. I've got a buddy who's an SDA. He was my team leader at my job just before I had to go on disability. And he comes or calls or texts me for answers, believe it or not. Hey, I'm talking to this person about this, and I mean, it's just like, what there's an issue, which I never call them out yet for it, but his brother-in-law is a little bit, or he's a lot slow. He's like 44-year-old body with a mind of a teenager.
Yeah.
But Craig's like, yeah, me and Philip had talked the other day, and he wanted to know, or he asked if God created dinosaurs. And I said, oh, hell, that's an easy one. What'd you tell him? He goes, oh, no, God didn't create dinosaurs. Satan did. And it's like, whoa, my spidey senses or atheist senses, first of all, where in the Bible does it say that Satan was ever given power to create? Even in Job, you read Job, and he always had to ask God if he could do it.
Dinosaurs are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what did I do? Well, his thing was, he told Philip, he said, I told Philip that they're just so mean, God wouldn't create anything so evil. And I'm thinking, what about lions and tigers and bears? And what about fucking hippopotamuses?
Mosquitoes.
Box jellyfish.
Fucking mosquitoes are the worst creatures.
90% of Earth is trying to kill us, and you're worried about dinosaurs? And I kept telling Chris, by the way, dinosaurs did not ever live with man. Then he gets on the thing about radiocarbon dating, and I said, well, that's not the method that they use.
Fucking murder hornets.
Yeah. But it's just like stock answer. It's like when you talk to them all, it's not all, most of them, it's like the same stock, cringy answers that you'll see people, 10 questions that an atheist can't see, or here's 5 proofs for God. Look at the trees. Okay, and where's your proof? Well, look at the trees. I'm looking at them, and they evolved to me.
If you take 100 typewriters and 100 tornadoes in a jar, it's like, what earth are you talking about? Like, what tornado? Have you seen a tornado?
Well, that's something else. And they, mess up organic versus non-organic. We know. We've seen, watches getting built, cars getting built, stories getting wrote, airplanes being built. Right now, Boeing ain't doing so good, with their airplanes, but they were built by, we know how they're done. And my counter to that is always like with the Ray Comfort bullshit. Well, we know if we see a building, it had a builder. And it's like, no, if I see a building, I know there's many builders. There's many plumbers. There's many carpenters. There's many designers. There's many, architects.
There's a city hall that had to give them building permits.
Because we've seen it. We can watch that with our own eyes.
Yes, but were you there? But they have a building permit. So that's proof that somebody was
out lying about stealing a candy bar. Okay, leave me alone, Ray Comfort.
Yeah, right. Lying about it. He loves aha. You snicker stealing son of a bitch. Like, I got
you can fight with him, and what does he do? He turns it around on you, makes you sound like the most awful person in the world.
I feel like
I want to turn to him and say, "But Ray, am I a Kiwi?"
Yeah,
mic drop. And nothing against Kiwis. I just the fact that Comfort is a Kiwi. Because I love the black shirts. I love my rugby. I'm a black shirt fan.
Sorry, New Zealand.
Yes.
Ooh, maybe that's where I should move, Neil.
I could. Why do you want to move me to New Zealand?
No, we're out of here. We're getting out of it. North America is dangerous. We're going.
Neil, Mikey has something to say to you. He loves you, and he's got a ring for you that he wants you to wear.
I would give it to you, but I left it in the other room or something. I was washing dishes. I lost it.
He's playing you, Neil. Dump him. He gave it to his wife. You know he did. he did something wrong. He had to give it to her.
Wife. Typical.
Yes.
Typical
Can't
husband.
forget Al the trucker. Al Trucker loves singing songs about Mr. Ray Comfort.
About Ray.
Give a shout out to Al. He's my little buddy, and I love listening to his stuff.
Al's cool peeps, man.
He is.
Yeah,
Trucker. He's intelligent as hell. Who would have thought a Canadian could be intelligent?
Hey, whoa.
Hey, don't you? Hey.
I
Don't you
wasn't
say
using
that.
the example of Canadians being smart. Sorry, you have me on your show. What does that say about you?
Hey, man, you ain't got to be so right all the time, all right?
I know.
You got us. All right, you got us.
At least I'm not Trump, and I don't even want to get politics started. That usually gets me in a lot of trouble because I don't do politics. I usually open my mouth up and get stuck in it. But let's do a rewind. Go Pat. Let's circle back in time. I'll take that back.
Oh, Al says Neil is talented.
Al says I'm talented.
Yeah,
you are. I mean, to be honest, I've watched quite a bit of your old stuff, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I like not only learning about theology and reading books.
Yeah.
If I turn my laptop, you'll see I've got two massive bookcases here, and that's not even a tenth of my books. I've got stuff in my closet in boxes, and it's awful. I mean, it's nice, but it's awful because I can't get to them and see the ones that I want when I want.
All my
sort
books
of thing.
are on here
now. Yeah, I got Kindle, and I got a few other free books I put on there. But
I use Audible.
Just the way you can interact with people, and I'm not kissing your butt. I'm already on here. We're not going to kiss your butt to get on. But the way you interact with people, even with Mikey, even. Yeah, Mikey drags you down. There's just a hint to make the show better. But no, you guys kick ass, making it fun for people, and I'm enjoying this. And
yeah,
well, we try to do, right?
Right. But
for a lot of people,
I enjoy. I love hearing other people's stories. And what I want is sometimes to let's use apostasy. I would love to get her husband on there and have an interview with him to get the other side. He didn't have such a journey as she did, but he was very supportive of her, that sort of thing. Yeah. And just to find out what kind of hell he went through, if any, in the background. So, I mean, what you guys do, keep it up, and, I can fake being somebody else if you want, if you need guests.
No, you're perfect. You're perfect. Just the
I've got 36. I got 36 personalities. Sure, one of them can fit. No.
You're perfect just the way you are, because I think another part of the show that I think my favorite part of the show, your guys' individual stories are all very interesting to me, and I care. But I also get to learn. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how everyone else's churches went, because especially in like the black church and stuff like that, I didn't even know atheist was an option.
Right.
That was a box. There was an atheist box. They didn't tell us about that box.
Yeah.
What is that box? Oh, you can just go nothing. Oh, yeah, nothing. Oh, shit. There's a nothing box.
About all these stories is how many similarities or crossovers or just like the hell.
There's quite a few.
Everybody. I mean, not everybody. A lot of people
for a lot
use
of
the Bible to become atheist. The hell was always a fear in the back of their mind.
Yeah.
What's my family going to say or do? Which my mom didn't go through that because she pretty much already knew. But for years she go, you're just saying that to be rebellious. But she knows now that I am, and she accepts it. She doesn't like it at times, but to me, what the hardest part of being an atheist is basically the depression moments, maybe not even being depressed, just the bad moments in life. Because who do we have to pray to? We don't have Sky Daddy anymore.
You don't need to.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Friends
you have to learn that, though, Neil. It's not like I'm free of God.
Fair enough.
Because and the reason I say this is about a year and a half ago, we lost Dad. And it was kind of hard for me because I'm looking around and everybody's, praying to God for comfort. They're doing that, what or who do atheists have, and that was another journey for me, is because here I'm watching videos. And then we lost Dad in July, and I think Vice Rhino lost his wife in October, September. Yes. 7. So I went over there trying to look for videos. Maybe he did something on that, but I didn't want to necessarily message him because it might be, still fresh. And, so I learned, and really I learned that we're as a species pretty strong. Yes, we get kicked in the nuts and it hurts and we miss them, and but we don't need the Sky Wizard Daddy. We don't need to think of them being in a better place. For me, I was glad that Dad wasn't suffering anymore. And it'd be nice. Yes, I hope I'm wrong. I don't care if I burn in hell, because even if, and I get asked this, and then atheists or Christians are like, oh, or theists in general are like, oh, that's bullshit. But even if God came down here, or Jesus came down here, or I had a vision like Paul, and I really believe that God was real, I would not worship that egotistical, narcissistic bastard.
Oh.
Sorry, but that's the way
genocidal.
I feel. Yeah. You
couldn't put slavery in the commandments. Word.
Yeah. I mean, he's a moral monster. There's no way I'm going to worship him. I'm not going to bend the knee. And you don't know how many, and maybe you do. Maybe it's happened to you, because because I'm pretty blunt, when it comes to stuff. I've been in trouble a few times in another community, and, that's just me. I'm not backing down. If I do or say something wrong, I don't have a problem saying I'm sorry. But if I think I'm right, that.
No, we're scrapping. Buckle up. We're finna fight about this.
But yeah, I'm not worshiping him whatsoever. And and even the concept of heaven in my mind, which is another part of this, is my grandmother was Jewish. She died when I was like 3 months old, so I never really got to meet her, know her. And one day it's like, man, I've studied everything else: Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Bananaism, but I've never touched Judaism. And once I started comparing Judaism with Christianity, I realized that Christianity is nothing more than a bastardized version, and not a very well bastardized version, of Judaism.
They were trying.
Right. They were trying, but if you go back and look,
Jesus was a Jew, if you remember, right? So.
Right. And that's the only thing that, if he was real, and I'm not a mythicist, by any means, but I concede that point regardless when I talk to theists, because it's unimportant, because you still got to get to the fact that he died, he raised from the dead, and he's God, or whatever they may believe.
Yeah.
That's that's a long journey, other than assertions and precepts. But I forgot. I just missed my whole point. I'm not even stoned yet. No, what it does to you guys, stay away from it at all. No, but as bad as chemo is, I would not suggest anybody automatically say, no, I'm not doing it. Say
you were just talking about Judaism and how they don't their Trinity is different.
Right, thank you, Mike. But compare heaven, hell, even Satan. All Satan is a person.
No, not the Trinity.
God used as an accuser at when? In the book of Job. He's not this. Job. Satan made you do. It's
mentioned as the adversary.
Right. Adversary, the accuser, but he's not this evil, can do what he wants, make anybody do what they want, sort of thing. In Judaism, So you start comparing all this. They don't have a concept of oral sin. I'm not giving up oral sin for anybody. But for original sin, just all the nonsense that Christianity denies or reinvents itself.
Right.
But the 6 things that Judaism is looking for in their Messiah, Jesus couldn't have fulfilled it at all, other than him being Jewish. He didn't bring world peace yet. He didn't have one religion worldwide. He didn't reinstate the Jews in Israel or the Promised Land or whatever there is. I've got him. I could pop him up real quick, but
he's trying his best. Okay. It's very hard to be a Messiah.
He showed up in 46, didn't he?
Well, it depends what, like with the Jehovah's Witnesses, they've had so many failed prophecies, but Charles Taze Russell says he came back in 1914 when that didn't happen.
Was that John Smith?
But then he changed it to, yes, Jesus did return in 1914, but he's invisible, just like his daddy.
What's the point? What's the point, dude?
Exactly.
If I throw a fucking birthday party and I invite you and you sneak your ass in there and sneak out and steal a piece of cake, that's not going to the party.
Right.
You didn't have a party with us.
Look, I apologize for that, okay? Fuck.
You took the piece out of the middle. You took my face off the cake, Neil, and you left. It was.
I don't want to know what he did with your face. I don't think you do either, Mikey.
It's probably frozen in his house right now.
He puts it on a pillow next to him when he sleeps and talks to you at night.
Good night, Mikey.
Night, Mikey. Here, let me tuck you in. Oh, I just rubbed your eyeball out. Here, let me fix that.
We're getting a red flag. Neil, did you have a question? I got one more, but I've been talking a lot, so I'll get out of the way.
So after when you finally said, you know what, I'm a fucking atheist now, like all that, even though you probably were one, just not realizing what it was at the time. What kind of relationship do you have now with like people from your past that are still religious? Like, how do things go there? Like with your family and friends that are still believers? Like, how do you square all that up?
Like my close family, my son's an atheist on his own. You know, I didn't teach him about religion, but I didn't promote atheism.
Right.
If he wanted to know, he can go.
Just let him figure it out on his own.
But she pretty much accepts me and thinks I'm a fucking idiot. But she still loves me. She better hope, or otherwise tonight when she goes to bed, I'm gonna put a pillow over her head.
Terms of service.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
On Grand Theft Auto.
What overlaps with like towards it was kind of weird because like a year or two before my original diagnosis was terminal cancer, and then I had 3 to 6 months to live. And I spent 3 weeks literally thinking I was dying, and I didn't give a shit. And not that I was apathetic. It was just that I'm more afraid of living than I am of dying, if that makes any sense. Because when you're living, you got to worry about jobs, your health, everybody else, you know, and then regardless if there's a God behind the black wall or the curtain or not, it's out of your hands. You're dead, you know, pretty much. They're telling you that, you know, you're going to hell if you don't believe in him before then. So, you know, either way, we're screwed according to their, you know, nonsense.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. But I was so concentrated on, you know, the future, or, you know, getting my things set in stone since I thought I was dying. And like I said, 3 weeks later, they, you know, come to me and said, hey, good news, bad news. You don't have terminal cancer, but we don't know what you have. I handled that a lot worse than I did thinking I was dying. And I really did not bat an eyelash.
Well, it kind of throws you for a loop, right? So now you're like, okay, well, now what?
Yeah. Well, they wanted me to sit back and wait as a small, I said, screw that. You know, so I had another journey with this football-sized tumor in me that they could never see. And so my focus was totally different. But then again, even going through that as an atheist was new without the Sky Daddy, you know. Oh God, I don't know if I get through this day. Dear Lord, please give me the strength to get through this. I didn't do that once, even when I was dying. I never contemplating whether there was a God or not. It was, you know, once I decided I was an atheist, I was an atheist, and I'm pretty well, a hard atheist, and not because of Viagra.
But it's because of the frigid temperatures. Thanks, Canada.
No, it's because of thinking about that piece of cake with your face on it, I guess.
All right, now don't make me send out the Cobra chickens and the fucking Mountie Mooses.
I take it back.
Yeah. Neil's just getting jealous, but so
show the mounted rockets.
Well, from like say 2005 is when I had that diagnosis till now. You know, I've really worked on me. I worked on me, but my concern was with me because in 2018 I got real bad, and actually when I bought my new car and my motorcycle, I finally, after all these years, was able to buy a Harley because
I was about to say, what'd you get?
I got, and what's weird is I got a girl's bike because I'm a big guy. I'm like 5'11" and probably 260. But from the chemo, I had when I started my infusions, I had back-to-back blood infections. So I still got muscle mass for some reason or somehow, but I've lost strength. So I had to go out and buy an 883 with the 1200 kit on it because I wanted a Harley finally, but there's no way I could, you know, a soft
wrestle.
Wrestle with it literally. But in 2018, I put them in my mom's name because they really weren't sure if I was going to make it that year either or not. So if I broke, then, you know, at least it's in her name. She can decide what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still in her name because it's just one of those things. Okay, there's no need to really take it out of her name. I mean, I pay the insurance, I pay the tags and all that, but you know, I prepare for the future usually, and that was doing it that way, sort of type of thing. But and then, you know, I don't have any fear of hell anywhere in my body other than my last marriage. That was the end of my hell, so I'm free from hell.
Oh man, if you died and you were married again, you'd be mad. You'd be mad. You're right back into the marriage. And
that would know with my luck, I'd be married to all three of them in hell. and they all be in the same house.
Oh, you'd be a Mormon. You'd be a Mormon in hell.
I'd be a moron.
Well, they'd make you a polygamist with your ex-wives.
Oh, I'm going to hell then. Oh my God. God set me up to fail again.
Bastard.
Cruel and unusual.
Yeah, no shit. And they'd probably like each other more than me. Damn it.
You better hope.
Yeah.
So we got like 5 minutes left here. So Mikey, what was your question that you had?
So if you could go back in time and give previous you a little piece of advice, what would you give them? What advice would you give them on their path of doubt?
Invest in Microsoft.
Go with your head, not with your heart. Cut through the bullshit. You're going to eventually get to being an atheist. Why play the game and free yourself from hell? Literally, free yourself from the concept that you have no. Because emotionally, and I had it easy, I'm sure, compared to a lot of people, but emotionally, it's taxing. Okay, I believe, I don't want to believe, I believe. Well, is this true? Once I finally said, you're an atheist, I was a hell of a lot happier. So I would tell the younger self to quit fighting it. Just grab a Bible, put it to the test, and if it fails, you're an atheist and can't look back. You can't unsee something you've seen. And definitely the man behind the curtain changes your perspective on religion.
Certainly does, yeah. That's why I always use that.
Oh, and I also tell myself to stay away from Neil.
That's probably wise, sage advice. I would say. I'm nothing but trouble.
And so am I. I need to stay away from myself, but that's kind of hard to stay away from yourself when you're with yourself.
I'm the good one here. Neil's trouble.
I see the horns in the back, Mr. Chicago Bull fan.
That's just a sports team. This coincidence. The horns. I don't know where they go. Neil, not on the commercial break. Commercial break. Commercial break.
I'm guessing without Mikey, you wouldn't have a show still. He's like the TOS police.
That's right. That's right.
I'm like an old Rottweiler on the porch. I'm not getting up, but I will bark.
You're a Chihuahua. Admit it.
No, I'm 6 foot. I'm a big Chihuahua.
We do have this.
Chihuahua.
The views and opinions expressed by the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Neil for Atheist and Mike Famine.
Oh, I like that, Brian. Love with your heart. Use your head for everything else.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah.
That's a bad.
Yep. All right. You're down for the after party, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. You had to make sure I took my Claritin D, so I'm not stopping up on camera. It's not as 10 pounds to your physique.
And before you do your wrap up, and if you guys want to be part of the after party, it did happen at Mikey Famine, all social media, or hit up Neil, and then you can welcome Azos. What are we calling you now? Because we haven't even said your name this entire thing. Are we calling you Azho?
It actually is a shorter version of asshole.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
One of my buddies, I played men's softball, and my buddy was an umpire, and he'd always call me the same thing. I called him I won't tell you what I call him, but he called me an asshole, and I call him what I call him, and he's like, "You realize I'd kick you out of the game for that?" I said, "Oh, you can call me an asshole." So anyway, we're giving each other hell, and somebody come over and said, "You guys realize their kids here?" It's like, "Oh my gosh."
Oh, whoops.
So my buddy is kind of like, "Hey, you need to figure out how to put that on a shirt without getting in trouble." Joking around. 2 weeks later, I came up with asshole, and I actually for years had vanity plates. And if
nice,
Brandy's in here, she can testify that I'm not lying about the vanity plates. Which I actually in Indiana is when they were having a big issue with people coming up with names. Mother fudgers. On the street isn't very, so they're trying to cut down on that. So I went in there, turned it in, thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this. The lady's like, "Well, what's AZHO mean?" And without missing a beat, I said, "A zero." I said, "It's just a joke we have." They call me a zero. And I on the spot. Now you know why I called the first 3 times. But
That
I got that on my. As a matter of fact, one of these days I'm going to find it and hang it up and back.
That's cool.
But yeah,
I always wanted to get.
But I've had people say, "Are you from Arizona?" I said, "Yeah, I'm an Arizona hoe."
Yes, I'm
That's
the Arizona. I'm the 64th Arizona hoe. Yes.
So yes, I'm the shy guy. But yeah, I'm not really shy, as everybody can tell. That's kind of the joke going on right now that I've started.
So what shall we call you then? Are we just calling
You
you?
can call my real name is Ron. You can call me Ron or Azhole. A lot of people calls me Oz. Because they think it's not right, calling somebody an ass, which I've been called worse. Remember, I've been married 3 times.
Right. Mike, getting some love.
Welcome, everybody. You're definitely welcome. I don't think it's all that special, but I can be entertaining in itself. So that's worth the price of the ticket, isn't it?
That's right.
The vanity plate I always wanted to get, but they wouldn't let me. It was 3M TA3. And if you see that in your rearview mirror, it says "Eat me."
I'm over here like
I'm over trying to figure 3.
I'm like, wait, 3. Like
I'm about ready to stand on my head visualizing it. Thank you for telling me what it said, because let
me turn my monitor sideways. Maybe if I flip the screen.
So 3M TA3. There you go. I'll put that in there.
And the 64 is the year I was born.
It says "Eat me."
Oh, okay, I see it now. I thought it was 3 M's. Okay, I was like,
I just don't know why he's going to hell now, because poor kids are going to be out there looking at this.
That's okay.
What's I don't know.
Well,
why would they get mad about that? I don't know. Like, that could be very innocuous. How do they know? That's pretty hidden.
Yeah. And there she is, Brandy. I actually know this girl in the real world. We worked together for so long, and
boobs.
Fucking Ollie. Fucking
boobs. Brandy. Well, you guys, we're gonna wrap this because we're gonna do an after party.
That's right.
So Ron, man, thank you so much for joining Mikey and me today. I hope we at least were able to amuse you for an hour.
I've had a ball. I should have done this sooner. And I hope the death in your family was.
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
It turns out that I guess they had actually passed away earlier. I didn't hear about it, but this was sort of a headstone unveiling. They waited till all the family was in town in order to do this. So that's
okay.
So yeah, that's what it was. So I had to go and do with that.
Yeah,
I do have boobs.
I think my dog wants to be a star. Go away.
I think so.
Brandy, this is not a hookup site. No, you can't get dates here.
Baby, you can
well,
I don't have those.
Anyway, so thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. If you did, don't forget to smash that freaking like button and hit the little subscribe button if you haven't already, and then the little belly thingy will tell you exactly when we're going to be going live and stuff like that.
And you get free Taco Bell for life.
Yeah, let's not make promises we can't keep because I'm broke. So anyway,
you get to buy all of your own Taco Bell
for life. Thanks to our amazing patrons and our members. We've got some new members, so welcome everyone who's become a member recently. We couldn't do the show without you guys, so thanks for all you do for us. Yeah, I think that's about it. So if you're interested in the after party, there's
one more thing.
A link. What's that?
If you guys want to check out Ron's channel, his link is down in the description. He's at like 16 subs. Let's try to get him like 40, 50 subs tonight.
I don't do this for subs, but
it's still
bore everybody.
Well, I do.
Like he did say, he's going to do a strip video on how to teach people how to do that on my channel. So hey, there you go.
You'll have to subscribe to see it.
I also have Kentucky Atheists link down there as well because Ron does trivia nights on there sometimes. So
we do trivia. We missed last night. Long short story, but we do a stream Sunday at 2:00, and that's usually like religious based. And then to get away from that crap, we wanted to do a trivia on Wednesday night at 9:00. If anybody
like pub trivia.
Except Brandy, because she's got boobs.
Not allowed. It's a cheat code.
All right. Well, also a reminder, guys, if you dig the tunes that you hear at the beginning of the show and after the shows, Definitely check out mine and Mikey's SoundClouds, which are linked below, and you can hear some more great music because that is my band that you're hearing in the intros and outros. So.
Luminous.
Until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the show, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Deuces.